So if you are machine sewing, what you will need, because of the glue, is to leave the parchment paper on so that it will slide through the machine. But I recommend hand sewing if you have the patience, as I've already said. Now we're going to look at how we work the sides. Now, the biggest mistake people are likely to make is to think you just sew it in a circle the whole way around. But as you can see, that would be a very strange angle to have your hair unless you naturally have it at that angle. So it's looking at the right angle in which to sew it on. And generally speaking, if you're not quite sure, you can refer back to a photograph of yourself, or you can hold the strip at the top and look at the way that it falls and think, okay, how would it fall? Would it fall properly? How would it come off the head? And generally speaking, I find that it's more an angle like this. So I'm going to look at how I'm going to do that now. Now that, again, we're going to make sure that we don't have any bits sticking out like this that we've forgotten about, because we just have to cut that off at the end then. So I'm going to make sure that I stay within the hat rim. And for myself, for ease now, just to get it in the right place. So for myself, just for ease, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually stick it on like this directly into the mannequin. I'll change that in a moment. But this just allows me to get really good placing and have a good look at it, decide if I like the placing. I'm going to look at that. Now at this point you could, if you were wanting to, you could put the other hat on over the top and check how it's all going to look. And see if that looks like the right angle, because it will highlight if it's not the right angle. It's a little bit forward like that, but I think I like it. I feel like it goes with the curves of the rest of the hair. So I'm going to go with that for now. And then I'm going to bring it over to my knees like I did last time. And this is where I'm going to properly pin it. So now I'm pinning not to the mannequin, but just the extension to the hat. And then it's okay for me to remove that one that was just holding it in place. I'll do the same thing here. It can be a little bit tough putting pins through the glue. And if you need to use a thimble, do. So now I have that at the angle that I want it. It's not going over the rim. I'm ready to sew it, and it's exactly the same as before. I recommend, if you're worried about stitching, don't forget no one's going to see the stitching, but save your last top layer. So work your way around and then save your top layer to the end if you're a perfectionist about your sewing. But otherwise, just remember, no one's going to see it. You can have a hat over the top of it. And as long as it's strong, then it's fine. So like before, I am going to go over the same spot a few times. You will find sometimes that the loop catches on the pins. As frustrating as that is, it's just a case of looking out for it. When I feel happy that that's strong, I can start my back stitch. So I'm going to go do the first one, which is a bit like an invisible stitch. And then I'm going to go back to the beginning, make my next invisible stitch. Now if you wanted to be really neat, you could do little dots of where you want your stitch to come out, because you can see when you bring the needle back through, you can see where it's going to come out, so you can adjust it to go where it wants if you're that way inclined. But I am more of the impatient sort. As long as it's strong, I'm happy. And now I'm coming towards the end, I'm thinking about that pin, whether I need to remove it. On this one I might get away with not having to remove it. And then it's just a case of stitching over the same spot a few times like we did before to make it tied in and extra strong. Then we can remove the pins. And then we'll do the same idea on the other side. To do the sides, and of course, just like the back, depending on how thick your hair is, you may then layer up, and you would layer up across the gap slightly like this, and do as many layers as you cut off, or as many as you want, because you might not want all of your hair on the hat. So if I was doing the next one on the side, I would do it like this. So let's do that while we're at it. Just the same as before. I'm going to check how it hangs before I do anything.